I'm Mike, and this is Shot Down, Not Out. So where do I start this story? I guess I need to take you back to when I was a child. From my younger years, I always had a fascination with the military. I used to meet up with my pals and we'd play army together and set booby traps. Silly stuff. Many years go by, I completely forget about the army, flop out of school, don't get a degree, and then I find myself unemployed. So, shit, what am I going to do now? The cogs start turning in my head, and guess what kicks in the gear? That old idea. The military, the army. I always wanted to do something I could take pride in, and this was certainly something that could make me feel proud, make my parents proud. I run the idea past my mum and dad, and they're supportive of it and excited for me. I bang out selection, and then guess what's in store for me? 6 months of infantry training. Growing up, I pretty much stayed in my bedroom. All I did was play computer games. I wasn't very outdoorsy. It was a shock to the system, to say the least. Turned up at Catterick. First week is trying to get used to people, you know, all the social stuff. And then eventually you start getting beasted. And the training starts to ramp up from that point forward. You go from stress positions to best mile and a half, tabbing 8 miles with kit on, applying first aid in the field. You learn about navigation and all the different weapon systems, rifles, machine guns, sniper rifles, HE grenades, even rocket launchers. If you're going to complete this course successfully, it's not guaranteed. A lot of people dropped out through injury or just lack of mental strength. The end of the 6 months comes around, pass out parade. I'm stood in me number 2s, looking dapper, peak cap on, parents in the crowd, we're marching about. At the time, it was one of my proudest moments. Had a couple of weeks downtime after the pass out parade. And then it was off to battalion, the Vikings for me, the Royal Anglian Regiment. Battalion was a whole new arena. You have to figure everyone out. There's blokes that have served on tour. They've seen and done stuff, you know. And you're just this shiny new combat recruit of war that's just rocked up to battalion. We'd go on many training exercises. You start to build rapport with blokes. They start to realise you're all right. 2009 comes along, the year we would deploy to Afghanistan on Op Eric 11. The lead up to it was interesting, saying goodbye to family members, creating wheels, getting life insurance, telling your mate you're going to leave him your Xbox if you cop it, being told to hide your dirty mags, wives are going to be fuming if you brown bread and find all that shit. Anyway, once all the administration gets done and everyone's insured, we say goodbye to our loved ones, we load up, get to the airport. I don't recall how long the flight was, but once you get to a certain proximity, the lights go out and the reds come on. This is to reduce your visibility as you're flying in. So we touched down in Bastion, which is heavily fortified base. It's massive. It's got all sorts of infrastructure in place there. You've got Scoff House, got ranges, got many different industries, many different regiments parked up in there. We even had a pizza hut. Don't get me wrong, you couldn't order stuffed crust, but there was a pizza hut. Anyway, you do 2 weeks of acclimatising and doing a bit of training for some of the equipment you might be using out in the green zone. We eventually pack all our kit, body armour on, Bergen packed, ammo loaded, weapon systems, night vision, all that good stuff. We load up onto the back of a Chinook. We fly out in the dead of night. Eventually, we arrive at our FOB, the forward operating base. This is a location where we can defend as a platoon. We can call for support, but we man it. So the Chinook lands on the HLS, the helicopter landing site. We all bumble out the back of the Chinook in the pitch black. I can't even see my hand in front of my face. We roll up in the P patrol base and we have a bit of a briefing, get an understanding of the lay of the land and show where we're getting bedded down. Life in the FOB, in the patrol base. There was admin that needed doing. You had to keep clean. You had to eat. You'd have 10-man ration packs, which came with some pretty Gucci food, to be fair. There was Oreos in some of them. I rather enjoyed them. or a can of tuna. Some blokes even made fucking pizzas out there, which was really impressive. This dude was eating a pizza. He had some flatbread and then got some cheese and some spam. It looked fucking good, I'll be honest with you. I never did get any of that pizza. Fat bastard. So you would have to stag on while you're out there. And stagging on is guard duty. You have to watch your arcs. If we weren't watching or on guard at all times, we'd be overrun. We'd be caught with our trousers down, and no one wants that, do they? You weren't stagging on. You were out on the ground, patrolling for the enemy, trying to take the fight to them. One day we was out on the ground. We came under sniper fire. Bosh, we returned fire with a GPMG, the LMG. These are machine guns, fucking laying down fire, and snipers hitting them up too. On this particular day, I had rounds snapping past my hips, whizzing past me. Yeah, you can hear it. It sounds different when they're close. They snap. It's not bangs, it snaps. IEDs detonated off to the distance. They'd misjudged our location. We'd walked in line with their IED, but we were further back, and so they just detonated fuck all. We had RPGs flying overhead. It was wild, and I fucking loved every minute of it. It was exciting, and what we trained for, and what we were all begging to get amongst. I'd been involved in many contacts whilst out in Afghanistan. Many. Never, ever, ever felt nervous. Not a single part of me. But on the 18th of November, something's off. I don't know why, but my guts are telling me it's going to be a bad day. So we head out on patrol. Pretty quiet, to be fair. We cross some farmland. There's a tree line with some compounds in the distance. The boss didn't want to proceed forward though, because there were too many ground signs and there was risk of improvised explosive devices. So he checked to see if we could get any air support. That was not going to happen. There was a blocker. So there was nothing for it. We had to turn back. As we started to trek back, we came under Dushka fire. Now, Dushka fire is a big machine gun, normally mounted in the back of a pickup truck. Lays down some nasty fire. When this shit gets shot at you, you'll be digging in with your eyelids. The gunfire ends, and I'm just approaching the outside of the base. I decided to plant myself firm in the road, running adjacent to the fob. For some reason, I wanted to cover the road as the boys were walking in. I shift my weight onto my left leg, and time slows down. Something's wrong. I don't quite know what's going on yet, but I'm looking at my right leg in a confused state. Shift my weight back onto my right leg, and the pain is unlike anything I've ever felt in my life. I can't take the pain and continue to fall over onto my side, smashing into the dirt with my pack on, my body armour and my weapon. I hit the deck. I'm in the middle of the road. Sniper shot, I hear it. I realise I'm lying there clutching my leg. I've just been shot. I'm sitting in the road, I'm like, fucking hell. I've never felt nothing like this. I could do without another one of them. And then I realised I could get one in the back of the head. I'm like, I've got to get out of here. So I fucking roll myself. With every roll, my fucking bones are crunching. He's broken the tibia in my right leg. Absolutely shattered it. I eventually roll in to an irrigation ditch. Bleeding out. My shoulders are pulled back and the weight of my pack is really heavy. I try to reach in my side pouch for my tourniquet, but I can't quite reach because of the heaviness of the pack. Eventually, my section commander realises what's happened. They see that I've been shot and they surround me. I remember that moment quite vividly. He's looking at me. He's like, what happened? The guy next to me didn't know where it came from or what happened. And I remember like just staring straight into his eyes. I was fucking scared. I was looking into his eyes. I was imagining another sniper round coming in and just fucking taking his head off. But luckily that didn't happen. They laid down suppressive fire and they casevac'd me back into the patrol pace. While I was lying there, I cut my trousers off. I'd gone commando that day, so my nuts are hanging out. But I didn't really care too much about that because I had a new arsehole and it happened to be in my leg. I'm lying on the ground. The medic comes over. He grabs my leg. He's like, fuck, that's broken. But as he manipulates it, I'm fucking screaming because I'm in absolute bobbins. I start to go into some sort of shock. I remember shaking a lot. I almost lost the use of my limbs. My hands started to curl up. It was the freakiest moment of my life. The medic said he had to give me fluids, and the best way to do that was to drill into my shin bone and administer fluids that way. This was all done without pain relief. Apparently, when he started drilling into my shin, the whole base was drowned with my screams. At one point, they brought my POW over early. I was fucking gutted. I was lying in the dirt with an hole in my leg. Me muckers here. And this whole fucking journey is about to end for me. I'm worried. Am I going to lose my leg? Am I going to die? I was the first to be hit in my section. It was a fucking shock to the system. I told my mucker. I told Early. I said, I love you, mate. Proper bender and I. I told him I love him. Oh, fucking hell. And I meant it. I said it because I was worried about him. I didn't want to leave him behind. I didn't want to leave none of them behind. I wanted to be there every fucking day, doing the same shit they were. But anyway, my time was up. The Americans send a Black Hawk helicopter to pick me up. When it lands, the engines don't stop, the blades still spin. And doing that, it's kicking up all the stones and debris into the air. It's fucking wild. Someone covered my eyes on the way to the chopper. I don't know who that was, but whoever you are, you're a fucking lad. All the stones hit me in the boat. I definitely didn't need an extra one in the eye. So thank you for that. They take me back to Bastion. I'm in absolute fucking bits. I'm dosed up to the nines with painkillers. I don't really know what's going on, to be fair. They clean the wound up. There's nothing really stabilising it. I've still got a hole in my leg. Bit of a first field dressing on it and a splint. Following day, flight home to the UK. When we landed in the UK, got loaded up onto an ambulance with another lad, Royal Engineer. One of the detonators blew up in the side of his side pouch. Blew a chunk out of his leg. Poor bloke. We was chatting a little bit in the back of the wagon, but he was out of it. He was on a lot of painkillers. I remember getting wheeled on to the ward where they put all the military personnel. You think I'd be happy being back in the UK? I cannot convey the feelings that were running through me. Just absolute. I don't even know how to coin it. Despair. It was like an emptiness. I got wheeled in. I'm lying there on a ward. All army personnel. I don't know no one, but they're good dudes, you know. I think the welfare officer came to see me first. Touch base with me. And eventually, my mum and dad were there the same day. It's incredible the treatment you get. You do get the best treatment. Got a care package from Help for Heroes, which was incredible. You had a mobile in there, some clothes, a wash kit. You need to still shave while you're in hospital, apparently. I needed several operations after that gunshot injury. I had a broken tibia, nerve damage, and a massive wound that needed a skin graft. They fitted what's called an Elizabeth frame to my leg. It's basically metal scaffold. It goes from the outside of your leg, perpendicular to your leg, and then through your flesh, from my thigh bone to my ankle. And that kept the break stable. They eventually gave me a skin graft, took some skin from my thighs. That was a strange situation. They wrap it up in cling film and they fit a vacuum to you with a tube, and you see all the blood and shit running through it. I was like that for months. Eventually, they went ahead and put a metal plate in there and fixed it together. The break was still there. It took a couple of years for it to merge back together and I could become weight bearing again. But was never the same again physically. I couldn't run. Walking was hard. And the nerve damage, the pins and needles, all my nerves were firing but didn't know what the fuck was going on, so my leg was absolutely fucked. I still suffer with nerve damage today. Lack of feeling in my leg. General pain when walking or running. Physically, it destroyed me. Mentally, that was a whole new ball game. I'd wake up in the night, screaming, clutching my leg, exactly where the gunshot wound was. Reliving those moments. I think they call them night terrors. Always on alert. When you leave the war zone doesn't leave you. That bullet stole a lot from me. Things like my ability to run, my confidence, my mental health, my military career. I was completely lost. I had no idea where my life was headed. But would you believe it? I was one of the lucky ones. A lot of people didn't make it home. Friends, brothers, husbands, gone forever. I struggled for many years, maybe more than a decade, to try and claw back my sanity, claw back the strength in my body. I was in a dark place for a very long time. Stuck in the past, stuck in my head. And then I started to realise I've got to fucking climb out of this. Otherwise it's going to kill me. Do it for the boys. Do it for my kids. Do it for myself. My story won't end on a negative. Onwards and upwards.